So many people are asking me how to live a more divine life and how to incorporate what they believe divinity is into their life, that I have decided to do a short 15-minute reading, like I do solo readings for people, and post it to YouTube so that it's more of a general reading, if you would, for everyone. And if you want to follow with what these words are going to say to you, the first thing you want to do is to take your logical mind and go put it on a shelf someplace so that you can begin to open up to the availability that is possible when you come into a new state of awareness. Most of the beliefs that people have about any type of divine experience is based upon a belief system that has been given to them by someone else. Usually it starts with your parents, and then it goes, through your teachers, your schooling, any religion you might be brought up in. And then you get your peer groups, and you get the culture you're in, and you get who you're working with, and who you play with, and all of the various people in your life who say, oh, look at this, believe this, it's this way, it's that way, you should not. So all belief systems are based upon this need to control the experiences of someone or something. When you recognize then that the belief systems that are in your life have been created by a person or group of people to control a certain aspect of the population, you can begin to recognize that everything from when you brush your teeth to what you think about God has been given to you by someone else with an eye towards control. And then you can decide whether those beliefs are going to support you or not. Do they support you knowing yourself as divine? Do they support you knowing that you cannot make a mistake because you are God? Do they support you in knowing that you attract to yourself everything that you are experiencing in this moment, and that you are a magnetic attractor, that you can make a decision to change that attraction point at any time that you want to? Most beliefs will have a big no as an answer to all of those questions, as you well know. So you have an opportunity, as the divine being you are, to dissolve those belief systems and to step into the reality of knowing yourself as divine and that you are God. Now, let's talk about God for a minute. Everybody has a certain belief system about God that has been sort of incorporated into your life. God is neutral. Even saying God, when we use the word God or source, or even if we call it the ineffable, which means nameless, we are still naming it. So when we're naming it, it makes it a little bit more difficult to think of it as nameless, and yet we have to express words. So we'll call it the nameless, we'll call it source. You can call it whatever you want. What you want to realize is that source itself is neutrally beneficent, which means it neutrally benefits all. It benefits everything. Now think about that. God, however you see God, is neutrally benefiting everything, everywhere, constantly, without any judgment. That means God doesn't care. And that's a really big one for your mind, because God is supposed to care about you, about your life, about your loved ones, etc. But if God cares about one person more than another person, one country more than another country, or we could say recently one sport event more than another sport event, what does that mean to those aspects of source that God isn't caring about? So God neutrally benefits all, which means that God doesn't care what happens. You care what happens. You care how you manifest yourself based upon your beliefs, which means that you always have this sort of turn within your consciousness, if you would, that says it has to be this way, it has to be that way. And that's all based upon a belief that someone has given to you. It doesn't mean that it is true. So when you come to know your own mind and you begin to question what is in your mind, this is the first step to being able to live a divine life, and to realize that you make no mistakes. No matter what you are doing, no matter what you are feeling, no matter what you are thinking, it is perfect for you in the moment. If you could have done better, you would. You know how people will say, oh, well, you could have done better. That's impossible. If you could have done better, you would have done better. You're always doing the very best that you can in every moment. You can't make a mistake. The idea of making a mistake means you intended to do one thing and it turned out a different way. That means that there is something else unfolding in your life because you're divine, because you are creating as divinity, and you just don't know the outcome of it quite yet. When you allow, without resistance, whatever is happening to happen, and you say, oh, that turned out a little differently than I thought. Okay, what do I want to do about it from this standpoint? Then you realize that there's this common factor that links everything constantly in consciousness that says this applies to everything. Everything is either perfect or a mistake, depending upon your own connotation about it, and it's all divine and it's all neutral, and it doesn't have any significance except the significance you place upon it. So when you let this begin to become the way you see yourself, rather than the reflection of what your mind logically believes is true, then you begin to realize that all of this reality is just that. It is relative. We like to play with words a lot, and reality, real, and relative all come from the same word root. And so everything that is real is relative in your reality. There isn't anything that is really real except the realization, another real word, that you are divine, that you are God, and in that are you capable of being neutral, i.e. non-judgmental, about everything that is happening in your life. Neutral beneficence is really the definition of unconditional love. It means that you love everything neutrally. And while you might want to love this person more than that person, or this person in a special way more than this person over here, that is a choice of your mind. And your mind is an aspect of your divinity, and yet it is not the essence of your divinity. It's more like the hammer you pick up to hit the nail than it is the actual awareness of being divine and allowing the essence of you to be neutral in all of the capacities that you hold. So, know that you are divine, know that you are neutral, you are divine in this moment. This moment that you are listening to my words, you are divine in this moment, in this breath. And the next breath and the next breath will create whether you're going to accept this divinity or not. You can say, well, I'm just part of God, and I will say to you, okay, what part of you is not God? Source is source. Source is all. All that is all that is. There isn't any division between what you are and what source is. It is all in union. It is all one. Therefore, there are no mistakes. There is no wrongdoing, except in the belief you have and the judgments you have about that belief. So, you can allow your life to be a little bit more neutral. You can allow yourself to live in this totality of consciousness and this awareness that is beyond all that you experience in this particular dimension, and realize that this dimension is really an act on a stage. It's a game. And you are playing the game, you are acting the actor or the actress, and you can decide what script you're going to write, you can decide how you're going to experience your life, and in that do you create a new way of being that is what you would call your purpose, and what it really is just another expression of divinity. And it is neutral, it is divine, it encompasses all, encompasses your life and the lives of all who are in your environment. And within that, can you make decisions from a divine standpoint, which frees you from the fear that comes up within the conscious mind that says, oh, look out, whoops, be careful, because that's all based on the belief that somebody else gave you. It doesn't mean that it's real. It simply means that it's just another part of the story. So thank you very much for taking a moment to listen today. And now, go be divine, unfurl yourself, let yourself move across those boundaries and moats you've put around your divinity, and be the absolutely glorious light that you are.